Good morning, sunflowers. It's Mrs Bevilacqua here and welcome to your number session for today. Before we start, go and get your learning pack. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil. And to begin with, we're going to practice writing our numbers. Time to get our brains warmed up. What I'm going to ask you to do is have a look at the tens frame, and then I want you to shout out how many counters you can see in that tens frame as fast as you can. Are you ready? Well done, that's right, there's 5 counters. How about this one? How many counters can you see? That's correct. There are 8 counters, 5 across the top and 3 across the bottom. And notice that there are 2 spaces that are empty. How many can you see now? That's right, there are 10. There are 5 counters, 5 yellow counters at the top and 5 red counters at the bottom. And all together we have 10. How many counters can you see this time? That's correct. There are 9 counters in my tens frame. There are 5 counters, 5 yellow counters across the top and 4 red counters across the bottom, and all together that makes 9. Notice there is 1 space empty. Here we have a number line. Let's check to make sure that all the numbers are in the right place. Point to each number and say them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are they in the right order? That's right, they are. This time I've muddled up some numbers. Which numbers are muddled up? Pause the video now so it gives you time to have a look. Count through each number on the number line and see if you can spot which 2 numbers are muddled up. Did you spot which numbers were the wrong way round? That's right, it's number 7 and number 6. So I'm going to have a go at moving number 7. Moving across number 6. Bringing back number 7. So now let's check if it's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done, good spotting. So what are we learning today? Your target for today is this. I can count objects to 10 and match them to their numeral, which means number, their written number. And in order to do this, you need to know your numbers, 1 to 10, which I know lots of you do know how to do that, and carefully count objects. Today, we're going to be learning how to describe amounts by saying which amount has more and which amount has fewer or fewest. And to be able to do that, you need to know that more means most and fewer means less. More and most means the biggest, and fewer and less means the smallest. You also need to know your numbers 1 to 10, which you do know, and you need to be able to count objects carefully. Here we have 2 friends. They both have a hand full of sweets. I wonder how many sweets each child has got. Let's find out. This girl thinks she has 7 sweets in her hand. Let's find out if she has. Pause the video and count the teddy bear sweets. Is she correct? Does she have 7 sweets? Pause the video now. That's right. She does have 7 sweets. Good counting. The other little girl thinks that she has more sweets than the other. So take a look at her number line. I found number 7 and popped an arrow by it. So if she thinks she has more, it means that she could have 8, 9 or 10 sweets. How many sweets do you think she has? If she's got more than 7, it's a number bigger than 7. Did you guess correctly? The other little girl has 10 sweets. 10 is more than 7. This time the girls have a different amount in their pockets. Have a think. Think carefully. How many sweets do you think each child has in their pocket? This time, this little girl has 3 sweets in her pocket. Can you find number 3 on the number line? The other little girl thinks she has fewer, so she has a less amount of sweets than her friend. So that means if you look at the number line, I've put an arrow where number 3 is. If it's less or fewer, then it's the numbers that come the other side of number 3. So it could be, she could have 1 or 2. And this little girl has how many sweets? Count them up. That's right, this time the other little girl has 2. So, who has the most sweets? That's right, it's the girl with 3 sweets. Now it's your turn. This is what I would like you to do. Have a look at the trees. We have 2 trees that have red apples and 2 trees that have green pears. The first thing I'd like you to do is have a look at the trees with the red apples on. I'd like you to count down how many apples are on the first tree and write it down on a piece of paper. Then what I'd like you to do is count how many apples are on the second tree and write down that number. Once you have the 2 numbers, what I would like you to do is put a circle around the number that is the most, which is the biggest. Which one has the most apples? Then what I'd like you to do is have a look at the pear tree. There are 2 pear trees, and what I would like you to do is count all the pears, write down the number on a piece of paper, then have a look at the second pear tree, write down the number, and then work out which tree has the most pears. And then I will give you the answers on the very next page. Pause the video now so you can do it. Okay, let's see how you did. The first thing I asked you to do was look at the first tree with the red apples on. How many red apples did you write down? That's right, there are 4. So I'm going to write 4 in my box. There are 4 red apples. And how many apples are in the second tree? That's right, there are 6. So I'm going to write number 6 in my box. Which tree had the most? Which tree had the most apples? That's right, it's number 6. So I'm going to put a circle around my number 6 and my tree because that is the one that had the most apples. 6 is more than 4. Let's take a look at the next one. The next thing I asked you to do was look at the 2 pear trees. And I asked you to count all the pears on the first pear tree. So how many pears were there? That's right, there are 8 pears in the pear tree. So I'm going to write a number 8 in the box. And how many pears were in the second tree? That's right, there were 5. Oh, my number 5 is very big. And which pear tree had the most? The pear tree that had 8 or the pear tree that had 5? That's right, it's the pear tree that had 8. So I'm going to put a circle around that. Well done, everybody. Let's try some more. Okay, so let's try doing the same again, but this time instead of finding out which tree had the most, I would like to know which tree has the fewest. So it's less, it's the smaller amount. So you need to pause the video again. You need to count how many red apples in the first tree and how many red apples are in the second tree. Write down the numbers on your piece of paper and then put a circle around the smallest, the fewest number. So which tree has the fewest, the smallest amount? Then once you've done that, you need to look at the pear tree. Count how many pears are in the first tree. Count how many pears are in the second tree. Write down the number and then put a circle around the smallest number, the amount that has the fewest. Let's see how you did on the next slide, but you need to pause the video now to get that done. Okay, so let's find out how you got on. So the first thing I asked you to do was count how many apples were in the first tree. So there were 3 red apples. And how many in this one? That's correct. There was 1 red apple. So which tree had the fewest, the least amount of apples? That's right. I'm going to put a circle around this tree here because this tree only has 1, so it has the least amount, the fewest amount of apples. Well done. Let's try this one. Let's see how you got on with this one. How many pears were in this tree? That's right, there were 2. I'm going to draw 2 in my box. And how many pears in this tree? That's correct, there are 7 pears in this tree. And which tree has the fewest? That's right, 2, because 2 is fewer than 7. There's less Well done. Don't forget to share your work with us in school. It's always lovely to see all the work you've been doing at home, and I know lots of you have sent work in already. You can do this either via WhatsApp to the school mobile. You can email me and send a photograph of any of your work, or you could post it in our new post box outside school when you're out on your daily walk. I look forward to seeing your hard work. Bye-bye.